Welcome to the Tiga Tactics Podcast, a show about self-defense for civilians by civilians. We discuss all things personal protection, including martial arts, combat sports, street combatives. Our resident MANs, martial arts nerds, include co-founder of Tiga Tactics, holder of black belts in 9 different styles, Dr. Conrad Bui.
Hello, everybody.
We also have black belt holder in 4 different styles, the other co-founder, Patrick Vuong.
Salutations, self-defense peeps.
And I am your other co-host, retired Army Special Force soldier and champion obstacle course racing athlete, Evan Ultra-OCR man Perperis. This episode is brought to you by Vulpus Training. Patrick, why don't you tell us a little bit about Vulpus Training products?
Vulpus Training products are basically high-impact polymer products made to replicate real weapons. They make all kinds of different replica weapons from real kitchen knives to tactical knives, knives made by real knife makers, as well as all the way down the chain to fantasy weapons, things you might see in Star Wars, Star Trek, anime, and they're all handmade, basically, extremely durable, very comfortable in the hand, and very fun to use.
Today we're going to be talking about the Toolset Training Tour. So, Conrad, why don't you start us off? Tell us what the Toolset Training Tour is.
Well, the full title is Tiga Tactics Toolset Training Tour, and every participant needs to say it fast 10 times without screwing up before they get in the door. And so we had like 3 participants this time. I'm just kidding. We recently ran this training tour, if you will, in Southern California at Rounders MMA in Fullerton, and it delivered well. I think our only problem was we had so much material, it was hard to push it all in 2 days, but we did a good job. It's about using tool sets, EDC type tool sets, whether it's a flashlight, pan, knife. And we also talked about using body mechanics for using any type of improvised weapon. So whether you've got a mug, a beer bottle, a lead pipe, a flashlight, like a bigger flashlight, or a brick, you use the same body mechanics. We try to keep all of our techniques and our strategies, our tactics, modular, so it transfers easily. And so first day we worked on using the flashlight and the pan, as well as improvised style weapons. And then we pressure tested. And then the second day, we talked about the EDC knife, which was more involved because, of course, it's a lethal weapon if you have to defend yourself using your knife. And so there was more ethical as well as legal considerations there.
Awesome. Oh, Patrick, what online courses is this loosely based on that Tiga Tactics offers?
We based the in-person seminar on 3 different programs. The first one, the last one that Conrad mentioned, was EDC Knife 1.0. That's one of our flagship courses. It's a humongous package just by itself. And then we also threw in EDC Pen and EDC Flashlight. Those are what I would call our subsystems of improvised weapons, improvised tools. And so we took those 3 courses, combined them together into one weekend workshop, basically. And like Conrad said, I think we delivered based on our students' feedback. Everybody walked away with a lot of smiles. There was a lot of camaraderie, a lot of hugging and shaking hands and things like that. And based on their feedback and their suggestions, I think we did really well. And I think they came away feeling better prepared and more confident.
As a later addition to Tiga Tactics, I started on the consumer side. So I try to always look at it like as a consumer. If I had bought the online Tiga Tactics courses and then I showed up to the seminar, what would my thoughts be? And the online courses had a bunch of stuff we just didn't have time to cover.
Mm-hmm.
But then in the seminar, there was so many additional stories and inputs from our guest instructors and, new information that wasn't necessarily included in the online. I really feel like they brought 2 overlapping but not mutually exclusive circles, right? Like your the Venn diagram, there's a good overlap in the middle, but there's a lot of content that wasn't covered in the online, and there was a lot of content that wasn't covered in the in-person. So I really think it complemented each other well, and it allowed you a way to rep the material that you learned online, but additionally brings in a lot of additional information.
Yeah, and what you talked about, nothing replaces working with other people. And you know, when you work with other people, you get different looks, you get different feels. People were switching up, training with other people, and so that just can't be replicated. As well as it's tough doing the pressure testing with your friends because you get to know each other and you kind of know what each other does and their size, and you get used to their speed and their rhythm. And so by training with different people and uh, different mindsets. The pressure testing really comes out and it makes it more legit for people as well too. And so also what you're talking about the community, you know, really cool people. I learn a lot when we have our discussions and uh, uh, whether that's an attorney or someone in law enforcement or military. Everyone was contributing, and I learned a lot myself. What about you, Patrick?
I agree. I think that to me, that's always my favorite part of training in person is you get to meet new friends, number one, and number two, everybody has different experiences, and so they will add to the curriculum, if you will. For example, we had Matthew, who is a assistant attorney, sorry, an assistant district attorney, and so he was able to offer not advice, not legal advice, but his legal experience, I guess you could say, his opinions, and that adds to the value of the students who are coming because they'll, you know, just for example, rules for carrying knives. Everybody's got an opinion, but they think it's fact. Oh, don't carry a knife that's longer than 4 inches, or you know, I can't have this button, and I can't do this, I can't do that. But you really don't know until you actually do your homework. And so, having someone like Matthew just come in and tell us, well, actually, this is what the law says, and this is how you should interact with police, and this is what you should say to them. That made a huge difference, I think. And then we had Matthew was just one of many people who I learned a lot from. You know, we're the teachers, but I'm learning too. You know, we had a Marine chief warrant officer, we had a federal law enforcement officer, we had there was also Michael, who is a 73, I believe, still working, still kicking butt. He's an Air Force military veteran and also a black belt in Kempo, and so just all those different experiences. And he used to get into a lot of street fights when he was younger, and because unfortunately racism, he's African American, so he would get jumped a lot. So just having all those different
Mhm.
stories and commentary just really made the seminar so much more fun.
Yeah, and also I think we do something that's pretty unique in seminars. We'll put somebody in a specific situation that actually happened, and we ask them, "What would you do?" We have them explain what they would do. Oh, I would do this, or I would start backing away, or whatever. And of course, there's no right or wrong answer. It's just a learning experience for that person and for everybody else. And then we roll the video and say, okay, here's what happened. And then we discuss it as a team, as a group. Not to say that that person chose wrong or right, or the person in the video did right or wrong. It's to enlighten everybody on this situation. You know, we're not here calling anyone out or doing any Monday quarterbacking or anything like that. We're just kind of trying to learn from it and grow from that situation. I think that was a big benefit for not just the students, but for me as well too.
Yeah, I definitely learn a lot from the other students and from hearing you guys teach the material again as well. And it's not like I don't completely rewrite stuff in my head, but I'm always like, oh, I like the way Conrad teaches that. Oh, I like that as an additional talking point. Um, Same thing with Patrick, right? Like I think it just hearing the material over and over again, and it really
Hmm.
allows you to fine tune and sharpen those skills and the way I teach and the like my thoughts on things. Also, there was, we also had ninjutsu instructors there, right? With Brian, who we know from Dragon
Right.
Fest,
Yes.
and Jeffrey, who also teaches ninjutsu.
Yes.
So that was it. So I always think it's cool to see other styles come in, and in addition to all the high level people, we also had people who had never stepped onto a mat before, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
the ability to train everyone from black belts to beginners, and then all to find value in the seminar, I think is just a really cool and unique experience
Yeah.
compared to some other ones.
Yeah. This past seminar, we probably had I wouldn't say the highest amount of newbies, rookies, but we did have quite a few. I think it was almost half the attendees had never done any sort of self-defense training, let alone karate at their local rec center or anything like that. And so it's always a fun challenge for us to teach a wide range of people, and I take great pride in that because we're always discussing different types of combatives courses, and you'll see. I'm not going to name any names, but you'll see people just toss in this newbie, put gear on them, and say, "Okay, go at it." And it's like, well, they have no skill. Wait. This should not be pardon the pun or pardon the term, a dick measuring contest, right? We're here to teach them how to defend themselves. So you can't expect them to go from zero to hero in like 2 minutes. You should give them the proper foundation first to build up their skill set, to build up their mindset, and eventually they'll get to the tool set. And it always blows my mind when I see these really high level instructors not understanding that some of the techniques they're teaching would not work with somebody who's never trained before. Like, how is your 65-year-old grandmother going to do that? How is your 12-year-old niece going to do that? And I think that's one of our strengths, is that we teach, I wouldn't say a universal program, but we can teach a lot of different people the same thing and have them all become very functional very quickly.
Yeah, a couple things about that. One thing I hear over and over from masters is that we're able to take someone with zero training, and at the end of the seminar, no one can tell they were the person with zero training, where they just integrate very well. And at the end of the seminar, they're moving as well as seasoned martial artists. The other thing about that is we designed Tiga Tactics to be bare bones gross motor high percentage moves that we pared down to the high percentage stuff. And so uh, I was at a seminar with Guru Scott Sobel, and we both have decades of experience. And we were in the seminar taught by this police officer who had a background in Japanese arts, and he was teaching some weapon retention things that he taught to the police. And even Guru Scott and I were looking like, how did he do that? What? And then we had to look and double look, and and the technique was also dependent whether that person grabbed you with their right hand versus their left hand. And yeah, like what you said, Patrick, how is a newbie gonna remember that stuff? Police officer or not? If two seasoned martial artists are sitting there scratching their head going, how the hand goes over where? And yeah, exactly.
Speaking of instructors, Patrick, tell me about some of the instructors that were there, because one of the things I find unique about Tiga Tactics seminars is like you pay for Patrick and Conrad, and then all of a sudden like random high level martial artists, other instructors start being added on and show up at the actual seminar. So tell me about some of the people that showed up.
Right. So officially there were two guest instructors, Evan, you being one of them, a special forces combat vet with lifelong martial arts experience. And then there's also Emily Chen, who is an assistant instructor in Tiga Tactics Combatives, and she's a firearms instructor, trained in a bunch of different combative systems, a scuba diver, very, very comfortable in high pressure situations. So you guys brought your additional skills and background. And then
she's also if anyone's taking Fighting Chance Combatives, the online course, she's the instructor in that. And if you have my book, Run If You Can, Destroy If You Must, you've seen her picture all over that book, the inside. All right, keep going.
Yes, exactly. So there's the four of us, and then I guess it's a pat on our back to say that we can attract a lot of different people, very high level instructors. One of them being Will Yong, who is not just a Hollywood stunt icon, like he's been in everything from The Matrix all the way to the latest Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show. But he's a fourth degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, super high level, trained under the Machados, and he's also got a ton of experience with Dan and Santo, so extremely skilled. He was there training with us, which always is very humbling. We also had Professor Steve Baca, who is just like Conrad, a martial arts nerd. He's got I don't want to say the wrong number, but he's got multiple black belts in multiple systems. He's also a black belt in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, just a really certified badass. But such a fun and humble dude. He was there. That was so cool to have him there, and yeah, all kinds of high level people, right, Conrad?
We also had Sifu Chris Dene.
Yes.
He's a instructor in Jeet Kune Do Kali, as well as you mentioned him as well too, Michael, who's a martial arts instructor and
Yes.
self-defense instructor as well too.
And who showed up at the very end?
Oh, yes. At the very end, Dr. Mark Cheng, who is, if anybody's in the martial arts world, you'll know his name and you'll know his face because he was a writer just like I was in black belt for many, many years. He is a high level instructor in multiple systems, trains under Dan Inosanto as well. He's also a doctor of Chinese medicine, so he's actually kind of like a movement coach, a physical trainer for celebrities and NBA stars and NFL stars. So just an amazing person. He also swung by toward the end to show his support, and that always means a lot to us.
Yeah, and he's taught at as one of the Tiga Tactics seminars. Maybe was it a year or 2 years ago, Patrick?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so yeah, like Evan said, you just never know who shows up and what kind of special guest instructor you have. But I just want to give a shout out to you, Evan. You did a great job. Thank you for helping us out. I had some comments personally, like, wow, Evan's really good. And so thank you for coming out.
That's amazing. Humbling to hear. Thank you. And I love that all the different instructors was so cool. Is like you could pick these high level martial artists that you'd have to pay to get their time any other place. You can like pick their brain on like a water break or something, so it's cool to be able to access that information. And then also like, if we rewind back in time to 20-year-old me, I would be freaking out that I was hanging out with one of the guys who was in one of like the greatest action scenes in my opinion, cinema history, The Matrix Reloaded, that highway chase scene. So it kind of like when I got home, I sat and thought about it. And I was like, that's pretty damn cool. And it was the second
cool.
It was the second time we hung out with him because he was at Dragon Fest as well. So
yeah, we hung out with him all day that day.
Yeah, what that scene that Evan you're talking about is in The Matrix Reloaded, and it's a scene where they're it's Trinity. She's on a motorcycle, and she has was his character's name the Keymaster.
yes,
Yeah, the Keymaster was on her back, and she was riding the motorcycle and weaving in and out of traffic as the agents chased them. And I remember Will telling me the story of how they filmed it, and there's no safety harness. There's no nothing. There's no netting. If they crashed, he would have gone flying and he would have died. He's got no
and they're
helmet.
not wearing helmets. They're not wearing
no helmet, no eye protection because they can't alter the identity of the character. So they can't wear a helmet. They can't wear eye protection. I mean, obviously he's probably wearing a gator back, which is like a back brace and elbow pads and knee pads, but that's basically it. So he slams into a semi truck, he's dead.
Yeah, that's not going to protect your brain.
Right,
Nope.
Exactly. And yeah, he said, yeah, they were legit going 80 miles per hour, weaving it into traffic. There's nothing. Sure, there's a lot of CGI in that movie. Nothing fake about that motorcycle ride.
And the cool thing is he's so badass, but he's so humble. He's like just your buddy or your friend. You'd never know all his accomplishments unless you asked him. So that's the cool thing. Like all these masters and teachers that swing by or even take our courses or help us teach, like Will. they're the coolest people.
Mhm. Yes.
So, can we get any teasers for possible locations / time periods if people want to come to the Toolset Tiga Tactics Toolset Training Tour in 2026?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. If you've been following us for a while now, you know that we basically have some anchor locations where they're every year. It's an annual event. So we'll definitely be in Maryland in the spring of 2026. We'll bring the Toolset Training Tour there. So if you're on the East Coast, you know, Atlantic region, definitely put that in your calendar. Think of springtime. We're going to go back to the Academy of Traditional Asian Fighting Arts, team up with Guru Scott Sobel, and bring the tour there. We also have some tentative plans to return to New Hampshire as well. I know that's also on the East Coast, but not super close to Maryland. So if you can't make Maryland, think of New Hampshire. Still working on the time frame on that, but that's looking pretty strong as a candidate. Of course, we'll be back to Northern California, San Francisco, where Conrad lives, and also to Southern California, where I live. And so those are some opportunities where you can train with us in person, and our schedule's kind of filling up right now because a lot of people are reaching out. They want to host us. So if any of you guys listening, want us to teach a seminar at whether it's your gym or it doesn't necessarily have to be a dojo. It could be we could even do it at a CrossFit gym, a rec center, high school, gymnasium. But if you're interested in hosting us, please reach out as soon as possible because our schedule is filling up. And we all know, Conrad, we all know your schedule fills up the fastest because everybody wants you to teach at their events. So you have even more, like as an individual, you have even more seminars to teach.
Yep, absolutely. So my 2026 is getting filled up. I'm talking to certain people and things like that. So please contact us, reach out, and get Tiga Tactics to your place. And whether you're part of a martial arts school or any type of organization like a neighborhood watch group or a church group or any type of group like that, we can come and help empower your group and make you guys a lot safer.
Yeah, one of the
I did a
things
deep.
that
Sorry, I did a deep dive for fun into church security too. So I got a lot of content on there. If there's any churches that want to, I can throw that in addition to one of like whatever Tiga Tactics is teaching for that seminar. So
yeah, I think that's so huge right now. Just
Yeah.
religious institutions in general are being seen as soft targets, and I think it's extremely important. Regardless of your denomination, Christianity, Buddhism, what have you, everybody should think about security a little bit more seriously nowadays because everybody I talk to who works for three-letter agencies or Department of Defense, they all say some serious stuff is happening. So aside from the usual street crime that happens all the time, I think it's important to be aware and be prepared. And kind of going off of what Conrad was saying earlier, you don't necessarily have to own a gym, but if you do, think of Tiga Tactics Combatives not as a style that would replace yours. It is a supplement to what you already train. So let's say you're doing judo. Judo is the main course. Tiga Tactics Combatives is just the vitamins, just the nutrient added benefits of nutrients and stuff like that. So um, I think it will work regardless of what we're currently training in.
I like to think of it as like the tip of the spear, Tiga Tactics. Like that's the part that's definitely going to be used, but then it's supported by my other martial arts, like the spearhead, and then that's supported by like combat sports and all the other training I do. It's like the kind of the shaft of the spear. So that's the way I kind of think of it. But
That's a cool analogy. I like
I
that.
like it.
and like if all you have is Tiga Tactics Combatives, right? That's still sharp, right? That'll still do damage, but it works a lot better if there's a whole support structure behind it. So.
100%.
All right, let's start closing it out. Patrick, what do you have?
We've got several things on the front burner, but I don't want to reveal them just yet. We're still doing some finishing touches on them. It's going to be very exciting. I think I'm really excited about this next program that we're going to come out with. I'll just give a little hint. It's not widely seen. This is a little exotic, very effective. But I'm going to hold that close to vest for now. So instead, I'll just say, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's it's free content. It's a great way to catch up on what we're doing at Tiga Tactics in really small bites. We're kind of emphasizing the YouTube shorts right now, and it's just a great way to get quick tutorials, quick tips, and of course, it's free, like everything else on YouTube. And of course, subscribe to other platforms on social media as well.
Conrad, what do you have?
All right. Yeah. So please, like what Patrick said, follow us on social media. Our calendar should be coming up. So if you don't see that, head on over to our website as well, too, tigatactics.com, and look for our calendar for 2026. We'll hopefully see you in 2026, if not sooner.
Yeah, definitely check out some of our the Tiga Tactics online programs. And if you're short on cash, then at least share the content around, right? So share the free content, the YouTube videos, the podcasts. That helps too, right? Just sharing our social media stuff helps get the word out there to people. And then I'll drop links to my books down below. If you're interested in some obscure knife systems, you can check out my Patreon page. If you want to know more about my military combatives background, you can check out the Combatives Blueprint.
Yeah, and you sold quite a bit of those at the seminar, didn't you?
Yeah, that's been selling really good the last 2 months. I think maybe the word's getting out of how good it is and how good the forward is. So
No, it's a solid book. There's a lot of material in it. So if you haven't checked it out, go and have a look at it.
yeah, I look at how much material's in there compared and the price compared to other $20 books I buy, and I just blow them out of the water as far as quantity and quality.
Right.
But I couldn't charge. I didn't want to charge more because then I feel like it just turns people off from buying it. So you're really getting a lot more value than you're paying.
You're regretting it now, Evan. You should have charged like $100 for it.
I know.
It's thick. It's huge. I don't know if people have seen it, but it's a solid like.
It's like 300 pages.
Yeah, it's like a solid like pound and a half. You could do some weights with them.
Yeah.
And it's got the kind of material where you can read it once, set it aside, go back and read it next year, and you'll constantly pick up something new or have a different viewpoint every time you pick it up.
Good stuff. All right, we'll see you guys in the next episode.
All right, bye everyone.
Thank you so much, guys.